Good morning. Welcome to Local Talk here on Nextdoor Radio, nextdoorradio.com, and the Nextdoor Radio app. Hope you're having a beautiful day. My name is Trace Nine on behalf of Nextdoor. This is our Behavioral 911 and Miss Kelly Siphon with Applied Behavioral Happiness. How are you today?
I am so well. Good to see you, Trey.
Good to see you. Let me tell you, I had such a great time on the farm the other day, and I told you
Good.
right when we got off. When I showed my wife, she was in here when I was doing editing the video and stuff like that. She was so mad at me that I went by myself. I mean, so let's be honest. She was so mad that I went by myself, but she loved, like I told you in the video, she loved the bunny. She was like, "Oh my god, that's so cute."
Yes.
She got to see the horses. She got to see the goats. Where I put the video on the one of those faces and just
Mhm.
loving life. And so I had so thank you for having me out there. That was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. It was an absolute pleasure
Yeah, that
having
was a
you
lot
out.
of fun. So, of course, my son will be out there to kind of witness what everything that I witnessed coming up here shortly. So, I kind of want to talk a little bit more about that because since I
Absolutely.
had the chance to go visit and what you had to offer and what you do, and one of the things that really stood out to me was when you were running in the field
Mhm.
with the goats, and you said, "Hey, they're going to really, do what you do if they're going to check out your energy." And then all of a sudden, you step down off of the picnic table, and everything stopped.
Yes.
How's that even possible? You got to show me. Yeah, I mean, how's that
Well,
even
it's
possible?
really interesting. So when we're working with humans, especially in Western society where we've got nuclear families and individualism as a highly prized trait, we've taught ourselves and we've created a society where that's the way that we interact. And if we look at societies that are more group oriented, and then if we look again at groups of animals that are group oriented, herd animals,
Hmm.
there's a lot more feedback within the group. And what you can do, having that group of animals that is sensitive to that sort of feedback, is practice as the individual coming in, seeing what your energy does to the group and modulating that to be able to work together. So it's again, we've talked about this. It's nothing magical. It's simply they happen to be attuned to that frequency of communication. And we as individuals in the type of society that we have don't tend to be as attuned. So if we go in there and we practice those sorts of things, we can practice going into spaces and going, I want to bring my energy
Yeah.
up. This is a time for us to be, raucous and passionate. And let's, have say sports. Great time for that. Or I know how to bring my energy down. It's time to walk into the classroom. Yes, I've got a lot of energy. I've got a lot going on, but I am able to recognize what it feels like to calm myself and I can bring that energy into this space.
And that's a good feeling because it's yes, a lot of the times, not just mine, but in general, children can get hyped up on the littlest thing and so
Absolutely.
upset at a little bit of nothing. Let's be honest, bro. What are you doing? Why are you so upset? What are you doing? And so trying to explain to him, hey, you might be wrong. This
Mm,
is what you're supposed to be doing. But then, of course, in the back of your mind, he's like, well, maybe he thinks he or she is in the right, in the right.
oh,
I mean, so
absolutely.
that's a hard communication, especially as a newer parent or really those that are 12, 13 years old, explaining that situation.
Certainly. That's quite a square to try to
Yeah.
circle. So when you're looking at those moments where you're trying to convince, especially a little one, that they're wrong, in that moment, there's a couple of things that we can consider. The first thing is, for example, like that they're very mad because their left shoe doesn't go on the right foot. These things happen. Well, they are logical little beings. Part of growing up is going through that. Holy smokes, the hardest thing that's ever happened to me is my left shoe doesn't go on my right foot. This is literally the most intense and hardest thing I've ever run into. And as the adults, when we start to take that perspective, it can become sort of sweet and amusing like, holy smokes, this is literally the hardest thing
Wow.
you have ever come in contact with. That's kind of beautiful in its own way. And it can give us a little bit of perspective in there to take a moment off of holy smokes, this is so frustrating into okay, this is a really interesting moment of growth. Maybe I can find some more space for myself, find some more capacity for myself in this moment. And then from there, when we get into rights and wrongs and those sorts of conversations, often what I'll go to is the imaginative no. So if I have to tell a child no, and I know, for example, they are a child that can become dangerous if I tell them no, they start to engage in really dangerous behaviors. Or if I know in this moment they're probably not right, and I have to tell them that. For example, well, can we have ice cream for dinner? No, why? And then you get the back and forth, and it just becomes this big tantrum. Man, I wish we could have ice cream for dinner. If we could, I'd fill this whole room with mint chip ice cream, 8 feet tall, but we'd be so cold. What kind of ice would you fill the
Sounds
room
pretty good
with?
to me, to be honest.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
But just having that imaginative moment instead of going straight into the rights and wrongs of like, let's say that your reality child is right now, and I'm going to take it to the 10th level. We can have that moment of play. And what you'll start to see is the next time you say no, they go, man, well, I wish we could have, a sheep live in my bedroom. If we did, I'd name it Bob. It becomes this sort of, I accept that this is a no. I can play in this moment and I can just keep moving instead of,
As much, and I'm going to try to say this as least disrespectful as I possibly can. I can see you having one of the goats inside your house.
Certainly. I'm sure you could see that. Has it happened? No. I have nursed many sick animals. There have been animals in the house, but certainly the inability to help a goat recognize where it is appropriate to defecate is a blocking factor to the house
I
goat.
say that as respectable as I possibly can.
I take it respectfully.
Because I've seen the animals really react to what you do, and that's a testament of your personality, your calmness, and to me it was fascinating to kind of watch you, especially with throwing out the food to the ducks and stuff like that. And so that's another subject I want to kind of pin on, because a situation can feel like you're out of control when you have ducks surrounding you, or geese, or
tens of them,
and some are scary. I mean, let's be honest, some are scary. And so controlling your surrounding, controlling your behavior, controlling your mindset, that's a tough thing for a 1 to 12-year-old or 1 to 6 or whatever it is.
Absolutely. A lot of it is modeling. So for example, when I've got a kiddo that's really terrified, I'll put them somewhere where the ducks can't get too easily. Like if there's a picnic table, let's sit on top of the picnic table. And as you saw, the ducks will come up to you, period. Yep. Do you have snacks? Can I check this out? They're going to walk up no matter what.
99% I do. So
yes. So what I'll do is I'll say, hey, would you like me to set a boundary with this duck? And then, this little beady-eyed duck is looking up and they say, yeah, set a boundary or get them to go away. Okay. So I'll just put up my hands and go, please move, and walk gently toward them. And what we talk about in that moment is if we want gentleness from the animal, we need to show gentleness ourselves while also setting a clear and consistent boundary. And that's exactly what we want to do in life as well. I'm going to set these boundaries. I'm going to hold these boundaries, but I don't have to be mean about it. I don't have to scream and yell to be heard. I can come at it calmly and communicate really, really well.
Again, Kelly Seifer joins us here by way of our in-studio today. And our phone number, 919-618-9258. Choose Applied Behavior Happiness. This is Behavioral 911. Like we mentioned earlier, I had the pleasure of going to her farm just this past week to be able to do some video. You can check out that video by way of our website at nextdoorradio.com. Her interacting with a few of the goats, ducks, the rabbits, horses. I mean, it's pretty cool to be kind of witnessing. So that's another thing I wanted to. How can, like I said, my son will be out there to kind of witness what I did the other day. But for those trying to figure out, is this something that I want to get my kid involved in? And I guess that's the best way to say that.
Absolutely.
How should they get a hold of it and kind of do that route?
Certainly. So you're going to want to start with that free discovery call where we can talk things out and make sure that it's a good fit. You can go on the website, appliedbehavioralhappiness.com, click any of the request appointment buttons. You'll be able to schedule a free 30 minutes with me. After that, if we decide it's a good fit, we'll go ahead and try 30 minutes at the farm. Again, no cost. I just want to make sure that it's a great fit for everybody. Then we can talk about moving forward from there.
There you go.
If you prefer using the phone, you can call 984-235-1058.
So I asked you this while I was at the farm. What is going out there, bringing a child in? What is your favorite part about bringing them to your place of business? Should you say how does that? What is your favorite part of that?
So that answer does change, I found, because it's what cool thing happened most recently. So I have a group of 9 to 12-year-old young girls that meet with me now on Thursdays from 4 to 6. And I do have a couple more spots in there if anybody is interested. And watching them complete a physically difficult activity together and work through and choose to complete that activity. They wanted to clean up the barn. That's shoveling manure. They wanted
Yeah.
to shovel manure. They wanted to get the wheelbarrow over and out of the barn. They wanted to dump it by themselves. And to see that motivation to complete things, that motivation to work through hard things, the ability to work together, choosing to do something that's quote unquote not fun in order to benefit the whole is just beautiful.
And that is really cool, and to be able to witness that, and because I invite you to go to the website, take a look, get a little sneak peek of, and we just did a small little 10-15 minute thing, and so it's pretty cool to kind of see the animals. Now I've been into us. We went to the zoo the other day,
Mhm.
or to a goat farm, and
Mhm.
one of the goats got on top of the table, and the kids were scared. So I didn't touch a goat all day, but until that moment, because you just got to get it off the table and put it back where it's supposed to be.
Sure.
And so that stuff like that, but here you can literally be inside the pen
Mhm.
of everything that you have going on and touch every single one, which is pretty cool.
Absolutely. They're all very cuddly.
Yeah, oh yeah, they love it. They'll run with it. They'll play with it. They want it to be petted. That's one
Yes.
thing that I did witness. The ghosts wanted to be petted. They love it.
Absolutely.
So I can't. So look at the video. Take a little sneak peek. Once again, how can our listeners get a hold of you? What's the best route to kind of communicate with you?
Absolutely. The two best ways, go on the website, appliedbehavioralhappiness.com, or give us a call, 984-235-1058.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you for coming to the studio once again. I invite you to take a trip out to and see if this is something that you're interested in, because I promise you, just to be able to interact with animals is worth it. So I promise you. Again, my name is Trash Nye. She is Kelly Seif with Applied Behavioral Happiness. This is Behavioral 911. God bless. We'll see you later.